There we go. 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mayor Mike, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. First things first, I have to welcome you back, period. You've been on vacation. Do you have the slideshow ready for us? Do you have
believe it or not, once in a while I get some time off to go relax a little bit with my wife, get her out of the house, get her away from the hustle and bustle that is the world of being a mayor. And we just got back, well, a little over a week ago now. Took a little time off, got 7 days in the Aegean Sea. Played the role of Odysseus for a little bit, hitting some of the Greek islands, and it's really cool. I'm kind of a history nut, so standing on the Acropolis in front of the Parthenon, or the Theater of Dionysus, and the Temple of Zeus. All of these things are just so awe-inspiring because you only read about these in books or maybe mythical movies, but to actually be there and swim in the same waters. There was one time it was night, the sky was gorgeous, it was clear, and I'm looking at the constellations and I'm like, I'm standing in the same area that Ptolemy named the constellations. It was really cool. But back at work, I still got a pile about this high on the desk of things to get through, to get caught up, but I prioritized you, Michael.
Well, that's all we can ask for. That's all we can ask for. We do so greatly appreciate it. We do always appreciate these monthly chats. We have a little fun with them. We like to have a little more of a conversation with them at times, but of course we also have to get down to business. We'll do that here in just a bit. But first, as you were talking about history, being a history buff and things like that, you've got a pretty big piece of history that you are trying to bring back to Central Wisconsin. Tell us this story. This story is right now, in the 4 years I've been here, this is probably going to be one of my most favorite stories that we've told so far, because this is, I don't know that I can upsell this anymore. Just bring it to us.
It's great. And I got to be clear up front. This isn't my story. I'm only a very small piece of this story, but I had a gentleman, Rayak Shuda, contact me, and he managed to find Nick Summers, one of our local businessmen, had acquired the original 1917 LaFrance fire pump truck with the Stevens Point Fire Department name still on it, sitting in a potato warehouse. And he came to me looking to restore it. So again, the original 1917, it's my understanding there were only 10 of these made. And this one you can still clearly read Stevens Point Fire Department on the hood. It's of course faded because it's over 100 years old, but it's still very much there. And he's going to start a project now to restore this. Now, it's my understanding that the pump housing from the back of the unit was taken off at some point. We believe it was probably sold off for scrap after it reached its end of useful life. And the pump was missing. So he put the word out on some of these groups. Obviously, the fact that there were only 10 made, it's a pretty rare vehicle to begin with. So parts, he didn't really have a whole lot of hope that he was going to find this, but he found a guy in Colorado who has a pump off of a 1917 LaFrance fire truck. So he contacted him, and it turns out that this man acquired it years ago, and it traced it back to a UW auction, University of Wisconsin, which seems very logical that the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point maybe took the pump and repurposed it for a while. And then when they were done with it, they sent it off to somewhere else. So it's very likely that the original pump is going to be back on that 1917 fire truck. And we're going to have some fundraisers coming up in the near future to help defray some of the costs, because this guy's doing the restoration out of his own pocket. We'll have it available maybe with the Historic Society, who, as you probably know, has taken over the historic firehouse. This fire truck was very likely stationed at that house.
Wow.
The firehouse. So we're going to bring back a piece of that Stevens Point history. And it's still be in private hands, of course, but it'll be on display, and we'll have it in a few parades or shows and things like that to make sure people can see that history.
And it's going to run?
That's what he claims. He's going to restore it, get it operational, and and use it for some of the shows. So you might see it at Iola. I know Rosholt is having a car show. As a matter of fact, we just had Midwest Modified have a car show here last Saturday. Of course, those are modern cars, but this is going to be quite a treat if he's able to pull it off. And we're going to have some fundraisers to help him defray some of those costs. So anybody who's watching or listening, keep an eye out for that. And you too can help restore a piece of Stevens Point history.
Yeah, indeed, because this is, like you just said, it is history. There's going to be a lot of people that, are going to be looking at this years from now, even when, maybe you and I are gone, that this is going to be there, and that'll be part of the story of Stevens Point that people will just simply be able to pass down from generation to generation.
Yeah, pretty spectacular. I already contacted John Harry at the Historic Society because they're very likely in possession of some photographs that show this vehicle in use. So we're going to try and find those, and if and when it gets fully restored, have those photographs available for the display.
Absolutely. So I am certainly going to be marking this down. We are definitely going to be talking with you about this in the future. I look forward to the day where we have a grand ribbon cutting on this at the Historical Society. I think that's going to be a great day.
I'll see if I can let you run the hose for something or something for a little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another piece of history, kind of a piece of history. Of course, we had the 76, the Bennington flag flying up here at Wausau City Hall last week to honor the Hmong. You are also going to be honoring the Hmong in Stevens Point as well. And that's actually something that you're doing this week, correct?
It is. Starting today, as you know, Wausau is the same as Stevens Point. Our Hmong population are a pretty vital part of our community. And in recognizing that, we are declaring this week Hmong Week in the city of Stevens Point. There's an event going on Saturday as well in regards to the Laotian veterans. But yeah, it's, as I said, they are a integral part of our community, and we want to be able to celebrate that and kind of bring some light to the Hmong culture. So we have that declaration going on beginning today and all week long.
So what are some of the things that people can expect to hear about then this week as you recognize the Hmong in their culture?
So the Hmong American Association handles all of the promotion and activities. I know you can go on their Facebook page or their website to find a list of the events. I unfortunately don't have access to those right now, but I know that they always have a pretty full schedule of different things going on. So I would encourage you to search for the Hmong American Association of Portage County, and you'll be able to find the information there.
One of the things that we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Mayor Katie and with Yilang Zhang, who's with the Hmong American Center here in Wausau, was just the way that things have changed for the Hmong since the first time that they set foot here. Obviously, things weren't always that great, but now, it's to the point up here in Wausau where you say that the Hmong history is Wausau's history as well. You can't imagine one without the other. I imagine you're kind of the same. It's the same way in Stevens Point too, correct?
It is very much the same way. As I said, everybody here is part of our community. And even now, up in Wausau and in Stevens Point, we're starting to see some of the Afghan refugees resettle in this area. We want them to know that they're part of our community. And I can't imagine the things that they've gone through to get here. But now that they're here, I want them to know that they're welcome and safe. And we're here to be supportive because they are all an important part of our community.
And if, some of those people need help finding resources and things like that, I'm going to guess that's probably just, as close as one phone call or stopping into to your office as well. You'll point them in the right direction. Correct?
Absolutely. And I know Mayor Katie's the same way. I mean, we've got lots of resources through the United Way and CAP Services and a variety of other organizations. But if there's ever any need to maybe you're not sure where to start, of course, the United Way has 211, but by all means, call my office and we'll get you pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look forward to the day that we have a good Afghani restaurant, either here or in Stevens Point somewhere. I have heard that spice palette is on another level, and to me, that is challenge accepted.
I'm not familiar with that, so I'll take you up on it. I'll try anything once.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just make sure you've got a good bathroom sometime in the next few hours.
Speaking of trying anything once, Michael,
right.
I don't know if I told you, but June 1st, we should have our dedicated pickleball courts ready.
Oh,
I know you got some up in Wausau, and I don't know, you might be a
Absolutely.
ringer. But when that happens, I'd like to invite you down here for a pickleball game, and maybe we'll put a cheeseburger or something on the betting table to see.
Absolutely.
Those should be ready at Mead Park. We got 6 dedicated pickleball courts that we've been working on. Those should be ready and operational June 1st. There's lights out there, so you can even play at night.
Yeah, indeed. And that's part of what's you're going to have. You've actually got a lot of parks projects that are going on right now. I'll even put, I know it's private, but I'll even put the $30,000 you got last week at Century World in there as well, because obviously you've got to have that thing in tip top shape coming up here about 16-17 months from now when NBC comes in for the Senior Open. That's something we'll be talking about in future dates, but more immediate future, UWSP football, Spash football, they're going to have some fancy new toys to roll out here this August and September.
Sure. Our community stadium at Gerke Park, we put artificial turf in over a decade ago to make the playing field more usable and safer. Excuse me. Well, that turf is due for replacement. But rather than just replace the turf, we've got a group of people together who have made the commitment to Gerke Park. And we are looking at a multi-million-dollar renovation to include not only the turf replacement, but some significant enhancements to the entire area, including KB Willett Arena, our ice rink. Right now, let's start out. We're going to have a dedicated medical facility where an ambulance could drive right up if they have an injured player. You'll be able to take them off the field in a gator and drive them right into a clean facility out of any elements. Right now, the medical room is under the bleachers at Community Stadium, and that stadium was built in the 30s. So as you can imagine, it's very, let's say, dungeon-like. So having a nice, clean, state-of-the-art facility is going to be pretty spectacular. We're putting in what I'm calling a Jumbotron, a large display screen at Community Stadium for instant replays or things like that. We can use it for because it's artificial turf. We can use it for a variety of things that don't even involve sports. Commencement, for example.
Exactly.
Some other enhancements are an additional locker room. Right now, the away team locker room is almost a converted closet because the facility is a little outdated and it was small. So we're going to be expanding that, putting in a dedicated locker room for the women's hockey team and anybody else who's going to be using that. Some additional enhancements to the facade at KB Willett Arena, and just some additional amenities to the tune of just over $4 million. And almost all of that was raised through the community. So partnerships with the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, Spash, and the public school system here in Stevens Point, the parochial school, Pacelli, and all of the users, plus very generous local donors, put that money together. Now the city's fronting the money because those donations will take place over 10 or 15 years annually. But we're going to get those done, and they're expecting to have at least some of the really cool stuff completed, including the turf and the Jumbotron, by the time football season starts in fall.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, somebody like me who comes out of the college athletics realm looks at that and says, okay, that is a great investment for the university. You're looking at recruiting, you're looking at, student retention and things like that being part of the university college football experience. That's all great and dandy, but that's not what you're concerned about. You're concerned about the community aspect for it. Now, obviously, those two go hand in hand, but still, this is something that the whole community can be proud of.
It is, and it's really a community facility, and sports are just a piece of that. We were talking just recently about the donations that are not donations, the grants that we got last week that kicked off Travel and Tourism Week in the state, and Governor Evers and Secretary Designee were up here talking about that. Well, having a usable sports facility is really a tourism magnet. Now, the fact that we're here in Stevens Point, the center of the state, literally everything points here. We use that as kind of a tongue in cheek, but yeah, the moving point forward is where we got to be. And this is one of those things that are going to draw people in. We're now going to be able to host multi-day tournaments, have multiple games per day, because the facility will not only be adequate, but it will be better because of the usability, the new turf. You're not going to have damaged mud holes and what have you from grass turf, and the fact that we have all of these other amenities is going to really draw people to the area. So tourism is a big part of that, and I think the community at large knows that. Not only do they want to have our local athletes play in a facility that is modern and updated, but they know that the benefit of having that facility is going to be bringing people in, making Stevens Point a hub for sports. And I couldn't be more proud.
Yeah, indeed. And it looks like I've seen the renderings. It looks like it's going to be a great facility. You'd be surprised, what just a couple $1 million can do to make something look like a college football game should be played there, instead of, it's good, but it could be better. So
right. And I asked too about making a personal donation to see if they could restripe the field for Quidditch, but it was a little bit out of my price range.
Why did I not see that coming? Why did I not that's it. That's just it. I mean, we got to end there. That's the mic drop. That's it. We appreciate the time, Mike. We'll look forward to chatting again next month.
All right. See you soon.